Dear viewers, Kung Fu Hot Dog was real excited about his new microphone that he couldn't find a suitable pop filter. For some reason, his favorite cushions went for a walk.
The killer was a tall, short guy, somewhere between 110 and 250 pounds. One eye brown, one blue, and the third one green.
It's good work, Gallagher. I'll make sure there's something a little extra in your paycheck at the end of the week.
Thanks a lot.
For a modern gaming audience.
Hey, were you guys looking for some extra chicken bones?
Vince Neil's in there.
Vince Neil. You know he's my best friend. You know that, right?
To quote the great Vince Neil from Motley Crue, those bad boys of rock. Unless your friend looks like this. But Tom Henderson, the owner and is CEO of InsiderGaming.com, made a rather strange tweet last night on X. He said the following: had to remove the original Valhalla Shadows tweet because I was sourcing the Valhalla wiki, which was inaccurate. Behind the scenes data via Ubisoft sources state that Valhalla Day 1 players 2.55 million, Odyssey Day 1 player count 430,000, Shadows Day 2 players 2.2 million.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
And I perfectly agree, Messrs. Preston and Logan. Something really is aloof, is it not? It's a time tunnel. It's a mind hive warped image that seems to be bursting out of nowhere. And if you thought that was strange, folks, wait until you see what I uncover in this very silly video from me to you today. And after this, I am listening to some classic Motley Crue. And I don't know why I'm bobbing my head from side to side like a stereotypical black woman from America.
I want them to know, like, it really hurt my feelings.
Your patience?
What about me, sir? Don't I get a car?
What about me, sir? Do I get a car? No, you don't get a car. You get yourself a nice little desk with a nice little chair and a nice little office for your nice little voice.
What's that?
And now my fabulous freakazoids, the concurrent player number that everyone obsesses about on Steam is about 15 to 25% of the daily active users. Thanks for spelling out DAU there, Tom, on their platform. Obviously, there's a lot of variables, but it's a good thumb rule in my opinion. It's very strange what he's saying here. After seeing the publicly available SteamDB data and the behind the scenes, or rather the scenes on the behind, in my case, data on various games. I'm going to come back to that point later on, folks, because I think Mr. Henderson does trip over himself just a little bit. So at the peak of 41,000 in the first day, you're looking at about 200,000-ish daily active users on Steam day one, 20%. So basic maths, folk, 20% of 200,000 is around 41,000 players who are actively playing Assassin's Creed Shadows on its day of release. Now, the 200,000 players online on Steam are logging in, probably vying for Counter-Strike 2. It's insane how that game has been #1 since the dawn of time, isn't it, folks? It's absolutely incredible. But again, if you're one of these 200,000 people that have logged in, you'll be playing your favorite game, you'll see AC Shadows in your library or in your recommendations. You might then want to play it, so there's going to be fluctuation, isn't there? So again, when Ubisoft says, oh my god, we're celebrating 2 million players, Ubisoft, can you just come a little bit closer, please? Please do that, absolutely. Because I have a few bones of contention about your claims. And Your Honor, if you happen to be watching this video, please summon Ubisoft and me to the courtroom stand, and I'll give my piece in about 5 minutes. What's that? You want me to see you in your chambers for a private session?
Hey, Kung Fu Hot Dog, I'm waiting for you, hot stuff.
Well, I'll do that straight after this video. And I think Mr. Henderson has been given bad intel, which is why this video is sponsored by AMD. Do you see what I did there? Because, oh my god, I'm so bereft of ideas today. It just blows my own foolish mind. But back to the article, folks, which will now become a farticle by the time I finish this video today. So how many play on PC versus console? Asks the intrepid journalist. Well, I don't have that data yet on Shadows. Hopefully someone will give it to me. Now give it to me, baby. And he's pretty fly for a white guy, is our Mr. Henderson. And I don't want to speculate too much, but the majority of that post right here is doing exactly that. He's speculating. But 20 to 25% of players being on PC isn't unheard of. So Tom, are you trying to cover the tracks for Ubisoft leaking out unrealistic data? Because exactly how does Ubisoft collect user data and then translates that into people playing your latest game on the console? I'm very curious how that actually works.
Ubisoft collects player data through various means, including account creation, social logins, pronoun usage, purchases, in-game interactions, and usage of their services, websites, and applications, all detailed in their privacy policy. The French bastards.
Both Odyssey and Valhalla numbers tracked throughout their life cycles at around 20% on PC. Day one on PC for Valhalla was higher at 33% as an Epic's game exclusive, but stabilized. Yikes. Now you can see Mr. Henderson right here is getting some blowback on what he said right here. People love to be obsessive over Steam charts. It's super cringe. And I'm guessing Moses right here is obviously, and he's Canadian, so he obviously cannot help that. Moses, do you have any pronouns in your biog? No, you don't, which is rather silly. So why don't you STFU? Jacob B. First thing, don't buy Ubi games on Steam. And many are the same. Well, there you go. I think that's a person that speaks with common sense right there. So I do find it very peculiar that, again, Tom Henderson finds himself at the behest of Ubisoft to try to make them look good. But in the meantime, Ubisoft, it seems, are having one of the most frantic weeks I can imagine regarding the controversial release of AC Shadows. Now, as we move along, folks, to the SteamDB charts, or as I like to call it, the Steam Double D charts. Now, Valhalla, now it says that the release date was 2022, but I seem to recall that it was actually 2020. So anyway, we're probably saying 2022 on Steam, right? And this is the numbers it did. So all-time concurrent peak, 15,679, okay? And as you scroll on down, folks, look from when it started, all through the various months of 2023 and 24. And yeah, it's not brilliant, is it? And again, apparently this had thousands of players on it at the same time, which doesn't seem to ring true. Now, Assassin's Creed Shadows, right now, in the making of this video, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 40,320. All-time peak 2 days ago, 64,825. So it hasn't even scratched that magic marker of 65,000, which doesn't blow my mind. I've been busy actually watching renowned reviewers like Master Assassin who talks about this game, and I actually do like his overall thoughts. I think he's tired of the cringe that Ubisoft are pouring out, but he's got a much more eloquent and very subtle way of phrasing his comments, which I actually like. But of course, it's your friend and mine, Mr. Jaw Raptor, and this has to be one of the most foolish introductions I've ever seen coming from this man. You know, when he used to do behind the camera stuff, I actually thought the dude was Chinese, and having seen his face now, I wish he was.
How is Assassin's Creed Shadows doing? We got many metrics actually, and is it enough to save Ubisoft? So lots to go over. Maybe you already saw this, but over the weekend, Ubisoft announced that Assassin's Creed Shadows now has 2 million players, and that's pretty big. They also noted that they now...
Do you know what, Jaw? Because Jaw isn't sure. Do you know what is big? I'll give you a clue. It's between my legs, and it's about as big as my very sexy blue microphone. Just to kind of put things into perspective. And this guy got absolutely roasted in the comments, by the way. Or should I say in the downvotes? That's going to catch up very soon, actually. If I press F5 on my keyboard, will that change? That needs to get higher. No, it will get higher later on. It absolutely will. But honestly, it's such a bad take. And Mr. Jaw with the lock jaw, shall we say, again, big Ubisoft shield. This guy used to make quality content a long time ago, but of course, he's a sponsor. He's being sponsored by Ubisoft to make them look good. He's not the only influencer out there that might have some sway, although I don't think that really counts in the court of public opinion when other people feel absolutely differently to Mr. Raptor right here. But Assassin's Creed news, it's still unbelievable that Valhalla has sold over 20 million copies. I would actually treat this with a pinch of salt, actually, because again, how do they get these sales figures? Obviously from retailers. I'm guessing, and I'm going to be controversial when I say this, it would not surprise me that Ubisoft actually cooks the books. And the character of Eivor as the female version didn't really gel with me. This is not how I would customize a female Viking back in those times. Yeah, I know the TV show Vikings. You had the very lovely Catherine Wennick playing a very big fan favorite character in that show, and she looked absolutely smoking hot. So I'm kind of guessing if South Korea or Japan or China made their own Vikings game, I'm pretty sure that their female Vikings would look absolutely hot, because at the end of the day, folks, it's about a video game. It's about losing yourself in a fantasy, to quote Earth, Wind and Fire. It's not about realism and bringing in real world politics into a video game. Do you see what I mean? So I think there is some scope for losing yourself and getting your imagination running riot, okay? But again, Ubisoft talking about the fact that, oh, on the second day of release, Assassin's Creed Shadows has 2 million players, when Tom Henderson himself has just said, well, we're not quite sure how that works out, because you have to remember that player count also excludes Ubisoft Plus, Luna, and any other form of logging in if it isn't Steam, right? It doesn't take those into consideration. So I'm very curious, because curiosity killed the cat, and there used to be a very good pop group back in the 1980s. I'm very curious to see how Ubisoft will actually come out there and defend themselves and show us how they obtained the eventual player count as opposed to what this game sold, because there is a disparity, isn't there, folks, about how many numbers of the game actually sold to how many are actually playing it online. It's a big difference. It's like chalk and cheese, pears and apples. Or then again, I could think of another way to compare this, but if I did do that, I'll probably be removed off YouTube permanently. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, thank you for the reception of my video yesterday regarding Sweet Baby Kim Belair, because I just did that and I thought nothing more of it. And when I checked my viewers today, and the interaction below in the comment section was absolutely insane. By the way, before I do sign off, I need to acknowledge a comment as well regarding AC Shadows. So I wanted to give Mr. X51-H8J. This is a very good point he brought up here. The long credits roll is easy to explain. Now, for those of you who are not sure what I'm talking about, the end credits for Assassin's Creed Shadows is nigh on 2 hours long. So the game was almost completed in 2020. When a certain event obviously pushed Ubisoft to Virtue Signal, gathered a new team from DEI hired developers, and almost redid the game entirely to make it the game it is now. Almost 5 years later, after the first iteration of the game. In other words, AC Shadows would have been a great success if Ubisoft would have continued as planned instead of modifying the game to the point it took them almost 5 years to complete, and even then the game got released with bugs. Adding Yasuke a ton of mistakes made in the environment, Chinese architecture and flags instead of Japanese ones, and the flagrant lack or respect for Japanese culture. That's what caused this game to fail, not the players. And I think that's absolutely spot on. Something else that is spot on, folks, is this end greeting from me to you. So if you enjoyed today's video, and yes, I am wearing a Tarek Tag t-shirt. These are very hard to come by, folks, and if you do get your hands on one, tell the person that Kung Fu Hot Dog sent you to them, and I'll catch you catching me for the return of my next video. And that's Her Honor calling me right now. She's such a saucy little minx.
I wanna kiss you all over and over and again. I wanna kiss you all over, dun dun dun, till the night closes in. Till the night closes in.
Rolling down to Dallas, my rules provide my palace. Off to New Orleans or who knows where. Places new and ladies too. I'm BJ McKay and this is my best friend.